It's been a while, but the phone lines are starting to buzz back up. November is a crucial month for football. The NFL playoff picture slowly but surely begins to form itself. The college football playoff is slowly but surely starting to form itself. Teams that we never knew are in the top 10 of the college football playoff rankings, and a team that's been dominant is on the outside looking in, and they have a must-win game coming up. But man, I finally got some Yankee blood in here. Y'all know how I am when it comes to my Yankees, and I got a fellow Yankee fan on. Jorge, you're officially on Monday Evening Quarterback with the analyst. What's on your mind football-wise, brother?
Man, I was at the game on Sunday night and
Which,
just watching
okay,
the
okay, which
Lions.
game? Which game? Which game were you at?
I was at the Houston versus Lions game on Sunday Night Football, and that's probably the best live game that I've ever been to for a football game.
Man,
From
that
the
at
start to finish, my blood pressure was high because Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions, and the offense wasn't really clicking. But I knew Dan Campbell would get that team ready at halftime. And I grew up in Detroit. I lived in. I was born in Puerto Rico, then I lived in Michigan, and I recently moved to Houston. My mom's from Brooklyn, so that's why I'm a
Oh
Yankee
man,
fan.
we got a New York representative.
So
Now it makes sense. Okay, yeah. Nah, you're official. Now it makes sense. Nah, man, that game looked absolutely electric. I previewed it on the site. And that's one of the best games I've seen all year long. I'm glad you were there to experience that. And Dan Campbell is the real deal as a coach. I've been saying it all year, Jorge.
Man, I think I would run through a wall
I
every
would
time
too.
he's in interviews. And um and then just Bates. It's funny because in an interview he said I went from selling bricks to kicking field goals.
Oh,
so
okay.
so for him to kick back-to-back field goals and being clutch in that position to hit those 50-yarders and plus is very clutch because that last one he hit, I thought it was gonna miss, but it literally just went right in. And the Lions crowd, Detroit showed up. What up, though? We
I
we
see you.
showed up. We came, we saw, we conquered, but we got a lot of the Lions. In all my years of watching football for the first time in my life, it feels good for the Lions to be winning. And then also the Chiefs shouldn't have won that game.
Man, let
So
me tell.
my only thing is coming down to this for football.
Okay.
I think the Lions will clinch the number 1 seed in the NFC.
I agree.
And once they clinch it, all they got to do is win 2 games, and they can make it to the Super Bowl. But my only thing is, who is going to beat the Chiefs in the AFC? Is Lamar Jackson gonna overcome that hump? Is Josh Allen gonna stop choking in the playoffs? There's so many question marks right now for these year.
I'm gonna tell you. Well, I agree with your thoughts on the Lions. Me personally, I think the Lions are the best team in the National Football League. I mean, they can beat you in so many ways. They can ground and pound. They have a great offensive line. They have weapons galore. I'm gonna make this comparison to you. You know who the Lions offense actually kind of reminds me of a little bit, Jorge? And you're going to find this interesting. They remind me a little of the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning. 2 stud wide receivers in Indy. You got 2 stud wide receivers in Detroit. Peyton had a good tight end in Dallas Clark. Jared Goff has a good tight end in Sam Laporta. The offensive line is great. They know how to get that push up front. And no matter what, they just find ways to move the ball up and down the field. As far as the AFC, I look at Kansas City, they're the cream of the crop, of course. But me personally, I don't trust Baltimore. And here's why. Their defense is going to let them down in the end. We don't know the severity of Kyle Hamilton's injury because he's a key piece of what they do for the Baltimore defense. But it just seems like Kansas City just knows how to play and toy with Baltimore. They did it in the AFC Championship last year and pretty much beat them at their own game. At this moment, I think Buffalo is the biggest threat to Kansas City, especially with how they're playing now. But like you said, which version of Josh Allen shows up in the postseason, right?
Right.
What else? What else is on your mind, football wise?
Michigan sucks. This is, they're my team, but they need a whole build, a whole turnaround. The coach isn't it. The team that just basically we gotta throw everything in the water and start all over for next year.
You don't think so? You don't think Sharon Moore is going to be a good coach for them?
I'll give it one more year.
Yeah. Let him recruit.
I'll give it one more year because if you really think about it, he kind of like took over a championship team, so that's a lot on his plate.
Yeah.
He didn't really get a chance to recruit guys as much because obviously it's his first year coming in, wanting to do things his way. So, yeah, I guess give him a few more years. But if he doesn't get it together with the recruit system and getting kids to come in to play for Michigan like Jim Harbaugh did.
Yeah, and I think if he can get back into his offensive line bag, because when you're a former offensive line coach, what's the one thing you want to do? You want to run the football. And if he can do all that, then I think they'll be in pretty good shape. But they need a quarterback. J.J. McCarthy isn't walking through that door anytime soon. Davis Warren wasn't the answer. Alex Orji wasn't the answer. I knew this was going to be a down year for the defending champs. I mean, they've been so strong and so solid. And then on top of that, it's the first year under Sharon Moore, But I think Michigan's going to be just fine, bro.
We'll see. I honestly, even when J.J. McCarthy was a quarterback, I wasn't even that ecstatic about him because he was never a Patrick Mahomes. He was never a Baker Mayfield in college football. He was just he just took care of the ball. Jim Harbaugh ran the ball, played defense. The offensive line played well. They played the way Jim Harbaugh wanted to play.
Yeah.
And now that we're talking about Harbaugh, he's carried that over to the Chargers. If you look at the Chargers, what they do, run the ball down your throat, play good defense, offensive line is moving, and don't really throw the ball that much. Justin Herbert just had a 300-yard game for the first time a few weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's
because
so the coach for Michigan now, I think he just has to get a quarterback that fits his system.
Absolutely.
I think if he can figure that out in the next few years, then cool, I'll give him a chance. But if he can't figure it out in the next few years, then he's got to go.
I wanna bring up a point to what you said about Justin Herbert. I've said this about Josh Allen the last couple years. It just seemed like the Bills were just throwing everything on Josh Allen's plate, and he had to be Superman. I could say the same thing about the Chargers and Justin Herbert. Now he has that running game to lean on. Buffalo, they're making it more of an effort to run the football as well. So I get what you're saying. Justin Herbert, I think both of them, both Justin and Josh, are two of the best in the league. Jorge, you got anything else for me? Anything else you want to chime in on?
That's it. We're going to have to link up pretty soon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've been to New York, but I need to...
Absolutely. Well, okay. Now, before we talk about that, I end every phone call by asking people what their favorite thing is about the Daily Blitz. So now, I put you on the spot. What's your favorite thing about the Daily Blitz, Jorge?
Every time you post it, you kind of like don't... You're right to the point. You're right to the point. You're always close. You do your homework on both sides of the ball. And anytime I tune into your Daily Blitz, is literally like right on the mouth of what the score is, what the players did, and it's like you're a magician. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. You do your homework on both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
Man. I appreciate that, man. So anytime you want to come back on MEQ, you just let me know. The doors of Monday Evening Quarterback are always open. And anytime you want to come to New York City, you are also always welcome here. And we will chop it up, go grab some food. Hopefully it's around baseball season, and I can take you to the Bronx. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, sound like a plan.
My man.
I gotta do the Brooklyn Bridge still.
Absolutely. We'll do it.
Stadiums.
No problem. We'll do it. But man, I appreciate you being on, and anytime you want to come back on, you let me know. All right?
All right, brother.
My man.
Let me know. I'm always down. I talk too much, but...
you know it's all love. All right, man.